back to our puppet workshop. These are two of our characters that have been with us since the early 1990s, a long time. We used to do a lot of musicals for the stage, and a very wonderful one was called Carnival. And Carnival featured these two characters and a lot of other characters too, but the main ones were Marguerite. This is Marguerite. She is a great lady of the stage, a diva, a wonderful actress. And this is Carrot Top, and Carrot Top is a little clown. And you can see he's a European clown, because European clowns don't have a lot of makeup. They wear a little bit of lip rouge and a couple of spots on their cheeks, and they wear a nose, a red nose, like a lot of clowns here. But these characters also had two other friends in the music Carnival, and they were Henry, who was a walrus, and another friend who is named Reynardo, and Reynardo is a fox. Now, foxes are often characters that are villains, that are bad guys, or tricksters, or sly characters in films and movies and books and musicals. But this fox is an actor, just like Marguerite is an actor, and Carrot Top is an actor, and this fox just played a part. So these characters, along with Reynardo, sang a wonderful song called "Love Makes the World Go Round," a beautiful song and a very true song. So now we're going to go see the narration for this week's story from the Book of Acts from our good friend Reynardo the Fox.
Thank you everyone for that titillating welcome. Foxes are more accustomed to hearing boos and hisses. We always seem to be cast as the villains, the bad guys, the tricksters, hopelessly typecast. But today, I have been finally awarded with a role I've always wanted to play, a storyteller, and believe it or not, my favorite stories to tell are Bible stories. So without further ado, it's time to go back to Acts. In our last chapter, in the city of Jerusalem, the apostle Peter and his friends were spreading the good news about Jesus, and lives were being changed. Meanwhile, far from Jerusalem, in the African country of Ethiopia, there lived a man who was the court treasurer of the powerful Queen of Ethiopia. She sent him on an errand to Jerusalem. The Ethiopian treasurer had heard about the God of Israel. So, while he was there, he picked up a scroll from the book of Isaiah to take home to Ethiopia. Then he met Philip, one of Jesus' followers, who said, "Do you understand what you are reading?" The Ethiopian replied to him, "How can I, unless someone explains it to me?" Then he invited Philip to sit beside him in his chariot ride home. As they were riding along, Philip told the Ethiopian man that the old scroll was really about Jesus, who had said that God's love was a free gift to all, people from Israel or Ethiopia or anyone else in the world. About that time, they were passing a large body of water, and the Ethiopian said, "Look, there's some water. Why can't I be baptized here and now?" The treasurer commanded the chariot to stop, and both he and Philip went down to the water, where Philip baptized him in the name of Jesus. And the Ethiopian treasurer rejoiced all the way back home. His life had been changed. He believed that following the way of Jesus was a gift worth more than all the treasures of all the queens and kings of the world. Meanwhile, on the other road, Saul of Tarsus, that sounds like an exotic place, was on his way to the city of Damascus, where he hoped to find followers of Jesus. You remember Saul? He was the fox in the story, typecast as the bad guy who didn't agree with people who taught about Jesus. He had them arrested and put in jail. Feel free to boo and hiss. As he was riding along, suddenly a bright light appeared and Saul began to tumble to the ground. A voice came to Saul and said, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" Now, persecute means treating someone very badly. Saul asked, "Who are you?" The voice replied, "I am Jesus. Get up and go to the city, and you will be told what to do." Saul got up, and even though his eyes were open, he could see nothing. He was led into the city of Damascus, where he ate and drank nothing for 3 days. In another part of Damascus, there lived a man named Ananias, who was a disciple of Jesus. True story. But Ananias had heard of Saul and knew about how he had been arresting followers of Jesus. So the voice of the Lord assured him that Saul would be shown the right way, but first, Ananias must restore his sight. So Ananias followed the Lord's instructions and went to a house on the street named Straight, where he found Saul and prayed in the name of Jesus as he laid his hands of healing on Saul. God had chosen the right person to help Saul of Tarsus see the light. Saul's vision was quickly returned to him, and he knew the healing was from God. Like the Ethiopian treasurer, Saul was immediately baptized. Saul of Tarsus, who had been Jesus' disciples' greatest enemy, then went back to Damascus to begin to live his new life. He was no longer Saul, the sly fox. He was suddenly the good guy. He would soon be known as Paul the Apostle. He became a great teacher and one of the wisest leaders the church would ever know. If it could happen to Paul, it could happen to a fox. Some people didn't like Ethiopians in those days either, but they were not bad guys any more than all foxes are. The stories of Paul and the Ethiopian remind us that sometimes people change in ways they don't expect, and other times they change by careful listening and study. But any change from God is an amazing change. And that's why this good guy, Fox, likes to tell Bible stories. I think I'll go on the road with this show. What do you think?
Hello, little friend. How are you? Good. So you don't really have an answer for it. Are you feeling good this week? Oh, good, good. Well, so you've been busy, haven't you? I thought, oh, so you've been busy on the coloring sheets of our new friends. Hey, you know, I just saw Reynardo do the story of Acts. Were you listening to that? I thought that was incredible. And hey, and you did the curtains that Reynardo used? That was a really good sewing job. You've been busy on the props and all that. Yes, you have been. So, did you sew those yourself? That's fantastic. Well, how do you, well, I guess it's like, okay, well, why don't we, what are the coloring sheets you've done of our friends this week? Can we see? Are you ready to show them? Oh, good. Oh, look at that. Oh, speaking of Reynardo, right? So we have Reynardo Fox here. That was really good. My mother's going to love this. So Reynardo Fox coloring sheet, that looks great. He looks like just the theatrical kind of personality he's got, doesn't it? Very, very good. What is he? Did you do another one? You usually have two, I noticed. I pay attention, you know. Daffodil Narcissus. Oh, Daffy, this is very fun. We're getting a lot of good comments about Daffy, aren't we? And hey, speaking of Daffy, you know, she's out in the yard. She's going to talk, yeah, she's out there right now. She's waiting on us, probably. She's waiting on us to talk about the tree that she said had some story behind it, and she learned from Mr. Dan. So you ready to go out there and see? Okay, good. Let's go.
This is the Chinese tallow tree, otherwise known as a chicken tree. This tree, a fine specimen, was struck by lightning in the 1960s, and it grew its trunks 4 different ways. It's amazing.
Reynardo, it was a real honor having you with us today.
Well, thank you so much. It was a wonderful time. It felt like being on the stage again.
Well, your stage presence certainly showed in your narration style. You're a really wonderful narrator.
Oh, shucks.
And did you notice that Maxie even put together the curtains for you to give you a good stage performance?
Maxie is one of the best prop masters I've ever seen.
He is. Well, will you come back and do a narration for us again sometime?
Well, I certainly would.
Well, that's a wonderful thing. Would you like to say goodbye to the children with me today?
Well, I don't see any children. Oh, there you are. Look at all the children out there. The parents,
out
too.
there. That's right.
Lovely. Well, it's been very good to be with all of you today. And Mr. Peely here, it was certainly wonderful with you as the host of this wonderful setup you have here. I did all these friends of mine that are quite still at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you, Reynardo, I think it's time that we do say goodbye now, and I will say go in peace, and you can say goodbye to everybody.
Well, go in peace and goodbye, everybody.
Oh, and one more thing. These trees are also invasive, and their sap is also a little bit toxic. Have a nice day.